From an NBA star to the king of pop, these famous figures turned down the chance to work with the one and only Adam Sandler. The 1995 comedy Billy Madison tells the story of dim-witted Billy, a privileged deadbeat poised to inherit a chain of hotels from his father Brian. Despite Billy having graduated high school, Brian reveals that he had bribed Billy's school to let him pass his classes. Now Billy must prove himself capable of running the business by going back to school and passing all 12 grades within 6 months. If he fails, the business will belong to the hotel's evil vice president, Eric Gordon.
You're gonna give the company to Eric? He is a bad, bad man!
Initially, Sandler wanted Bob Odenkirk to be cast as the villainous Eric, as the two had gotten along during their time on SNL. But Odenkirk, far from the household name he is today, was vetoed by studio executives. After an extensive series of auditions, Sandler fell in love with the performance of an up-and-coming actor named Philip Seymour Hoffman, but executives were reluctant to hire him. Sandler was able to convince them to hire Hoffman, but a new problem quickly arose. Hoffman ended up turning down the role. In Fly on the Wall, a podcast hosted by David Spade and Dana Carvey, Sandler detailed how he called up Hoffman personally to see what was going on. He recalled, "I go, hey, I saw your tape, you're so great, buddy, and they said you don't want to do it. So do you want to do it?" And he goes, I can't, I just don't want to." The role ended up being delightfully filled by the West Wing star Bradley Whitford. Fortunately, Hoffman and Sandler would eventually get the chance to work together in Paul Thomas Anderson's romantic dramedy Punch Drunk Love.
Shut up! Shut the f***
You have no right to take me.
Shut up! Will you shut up? Shut up! Shut up!
Following the highly successful Billy Madison was Adam Sandler's classic 1996 sports comedy Happy Gilmore. The film chronicles the journey of the titular failed ice hockey player Happy, who soon discovers his talents transfer better to the world of professional golf. His more rambunctious style rankles his uptight competitor Shooter McGavin, played by Christopher McDonald, who resorts to nefarious means to get Gilmore off the course. McDonald's portrayal of Shooter is truly iconic, but it almost didn't happen. In an interview with Alex Withrow for And So It Begins, McDonald confirmed that he had turned down the role twice, explaining, "I was tired, I wanted to see more of my family." Fortunately, McDonald changed his mind after winning a particularly competitive game of golf. He continued, "That high was something else. So with my golf shoes still on, I went in the locker room, called my agent and said, 'Is that golf movie still available? Because I just won this tournament and I'm feeling a little bit, well, shooterish.'"
I've worked hard my whole life, paid my dues, and now it's Shooter's turn. And Shooter's not about to let his reign at the top be spoiled by some freak, sideshow clown.
McDonald was cast, and movie magic was made. McDonald enjoyed the freedom he was given to improvise, making sure his character didn't just play all of the cliched bad guy tropes. Though he initially declined the role, he now looks back on the film as a blessing, saying, "We really had fun with that one, and the fact that that movie is still on people's minds is great." After Christopher McDonald initially turned down the role of Shooter McGavin in Happy Gilmore, studio executives began looking for a possible replacement. Deciding to take a big swing, the studio reached out to Kevin Costner, legendary star of sports films like Field of Dreams, American Flyers, and Bull Durham. Casting Costner as a golf player sounds like a perfect fit, and Costner himself agreed. But he still didn't agree to the role of Shooter. Instead, he was busy making his own golf movie, Tin Cup. Tin Cup earned Costner a Golden Globe nomination for his role as Roy McAvoy, so it was probably worth it for him to swing away from Happy Gilmore. More sports films followed for Costner, including Sam Raimi's For the Love of the Game, the football movie Draft Day, and Disney's McFarland USA. But for a brief, shining moment, the world was nearly graced with Kevin Costner as one of the funniest sports film villains ever. After finding success with Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler again returned to sports for the 1998 football comedy The Waterboy. Sandler stars as the titular waterboy Bobby Boucher, who lives with his overbearing mother, played by Kathy Bates. When Bobby winds up playing football, instead of just handing out drinks, he begins to make his way out from under his mother's thumb and into the real world.
Mama, something bad happened today.
Somebody hurt you, my boy. Who hurt you? You tell Mama who hurt you.
The Academy Award-winning Bates almost didn't play the iconic role of Mama Boucher, as her agent didn't like the script. Bates told SB Nation, "They made an offer, so legally she had to send me the script. And I read the first 12 pages, and it was about football, and it was kind of silly, so I tossed it in the trash next to my bed." Fortunately, Bates' niece saw the script and recognized Adam Sandler's name. She convinced Bates to give the script another chance, a decision that Bates now knows was the right one to make. She reminisced, "There's many experiences I've had that have been more difficult or unpleasant or didn't turn out the way I had wanted them to turn out. This was one of the happy experiences that I've had." In 2010, Grown Ups became Sandler's highest-grossing film to date, raking in over $270 million worldwide. The movie did so well that Sandler generously gifted brand new Maseratis to his co-stars Chris Rock, Kevin James, and David Spade, as well as a Tesla Roadster to Rob Schneider. After the smashing success of the first film, a sequel followed in 2013 with one major difference. Rob Schneider was absent, replaced by comedian Nick Swardson as Schneider's character's brother. When questioned about his absence in a radio interview, Schneider initially made it sound like there was bad blood between him and Sandler because of pay disputes. He said, "They're doing Grown Ups 2 without me. Mistake. They should have paid me a lot of money." However, Schneider also added, "Well, truthfully, I wasn't sure if I'd have my TV series, so it was an availability thing, but at the end of the day, they should have said, what money does Rob need?" If there really was a falling out behind the scenes, the two seem to have made up. Schneider has gone on to appear in more recent Sandler films, including The Ridiculous Six, Sandy Wexler, and Hubie Halloween. The 2015 action comedy Pixels sees Adam Sandler as Sam Brenner, a former arcade champion recruited by the government to stop aliens that are taking the form of classic arcade games like Pac-Man, Centipede, and Donkey Kong. In addition to the gaming icons, the aliens take on the appearances of famous 80s faces like Ronald Reagan and Max Headroom to deliver their messages to mankind. According to a report from Showbiz 411, the infamous 2014 Sony email leak revealed that the studio reached out to the estate of Michael Jackson for a potential cameo in Pixels. While the estate didn't exactly turn them down outright, they did request a fee that surpassed their budget by quite a large amount. Although Sandler really wanted the King of Pop to appear in the sci-fi adventure, the Michael Jackson alien did not moonwalk its way into the final cut. Adam Sandler's first of many Netflix films was the Western parody The Ridiculous Six. The film stars Sandler as a man raised by Native Americans who learns he has a handful of eccentric half-brothers played by Terry Crews, Jorge Garcia, Taylor Lautner, Rob Schneider, and Luke Wilson. The brothers team up to rescue their newfound, recently kidnapped father by stealing enough money to pay his ransom.
Any of you handsome brothers ready to go steal a big hunk of gold?
I'm ready. I'm hungry.
I'm drunk.
I'm low Pete.
Despite its eclectic cast, critics and audiences alike were less than pleased with the movie. Many criticized the film as racially insensitive, with loads of unfunny jokes that relied on terrible stereotypes. But it wasn't just the audience saying so. This criticism also came from some of the movie's own cast members. As reported by Indian Country Today, many of the Native American extras were upset at the lowbrow jokes and inaccurate costumes. This led to about a dozen actors and crew members, including actor Lauren Anthony and the Native American cultural advisor, to leave the set in protest. Netflix responded to the controversy by telling Venture, "The movie has ridiculous in the title for a reason, because it is ridiculous. It is a broad satire of Western movies and the stereotypes they popularized, featuring a diverse cast that is not only part of, but in on the joke." Perhaps the film's low approval rating proves that Sandler should have listened to what his co-workers had to say. The 2022 Netflix sports drama Hustle stars Adam Sandler as down-on-his-luck NBA scout Stanley Sugarman. When he's sent to Spain to recruit a rising star, Sugarman stumbles across an even better player named Bo Cruz, played by Juancho Hernan Gomez. Unable to convince his boss of Cruz's talent, Sugarman quits and focuses on preparing Cruz for the NBA draft. Hernan Gomez is an NBA star who's previously played for a number of teams, currently for the Toronto Raptors. Hustle was his acting debut, but he was initially reluctant to take the role. In an interview with Pop Culture, Hernan Gomez stated, "I told them no. I didn't want to do it. I don't want to waste time in something like this. It's not my dream." Eventually, Hernan Gomez was convinced by his sister to take the role, which he later described as a great experience, saying, "I was really surprised how hard they work for making a movie. I just enjoy the journey so much. I embrace it and I enjoy it." Hernan Gomez had a blast working with Sandler, feeling an instant connection with the comedy legend on set. He continued, "We enjoy it so much every single day. We spent 2 months together. We didn't have any bad days. I feel like that's the reason Bo and Stanley have that good chemistry, because in real life, we got a great feeling." While Adam Sandler has acted in several dramatic films, none have quite the same impact as his portrayal of the gambling-addicted jewelry salesman Howard Ratner in 2019's Uncut Gems. Critics heaped praise on his performance, and many believed the film would earn Sandler his first Academy Award nomination. While the Oscar evaded The Sandman, he still managed to nab Best Actor wins from the Independent Spirit Awards and the National Board of Review.
This is my f***ing way. This is how I win. All right?
Of course, he almost didn't take the role at all. Filmmakers Josh and Benny Safdie initially reached out to Sandler's management in 2015, but were told he was unavailable. The brothers made attempts with other actors, including Borat comedian Sacha Baron Cohen and 21 Jump Street star Jonah Hill. After struggling to de-age the character, Hill eventually left to work on other projects. With more projects now under their belt, including the critically acclaimed Robert Pattinson-led thriller Good Time, the Safdie brothers decided to reach out to Sandler one last time. Luckily, this time he agreed to the role, ushering in a whole new era of critical respect and acclaim for the famously goofy actor. The animated Hotel Transylvania franchise has made over $1 billion worldwide. Adam Sandler lent his voice to the first 3 movies as none other than Count Dracula, who owns the titular hotel for monsters and struggles to be a good father to his daughter, Mavis. The films also feature a number of Sandler's frequent live-action collaborators, including Andy Samberg, Kevin James, Steve Buscemi, and David Spade. When the 4th film Hotel Transylvania Transformania premiered in 2022 on Amazon Prime, most of the actors reprised their monstrous roles, with 2 major exceptions. First off, Frankenstein was no longer played by Kevin James, but instead by voice actor Brad Abril. More surprisingly though, the lead role of Dracula was now occupied by Adam Sandler impressionist Brian Hull. Director Derek Dryman spoke of the casting change, telling Screen Rant, "The fact that he turns into a human was a good opportunity to do things a little differently. He could be a little different than he was in the movies, and it would be natural. So it kind of was the perfect movie to have a person come in and fill those shoes." Though there is no official reason behind Sandler's lack of involvement on the project, some have theorized that it had to do with his Netflix contract and another animated film he was developing with the competing streaming service.